Sir, we are overrun. So you are the experts.
Bear with me. I'm doing a hypothetical situation using my home tape that I would love for more people to play game with as the showcase and the showpiece of the war that we're going to get into. So without further ado, let's take a tour around the table. Alright, so as you see, there's no clear LOS under the overpass. There's a lot of blocking walls. Intersections where you have the crosswalks are the only long shots available on the board. Moving forward, I have the edge of town, which is against the green screen in the back alley, so any unit sneaking across would have a beautiful line of sight all the way down into the enemy deployment zone, which is my mercenary force. Notice the vehicle hangars. These are new STO files that will be coming out soon, where you can have vehicles hide behind or under solid walls and in the ambush points. But also you can stack multiple buildings on top of them or use them as overpasses. Alright, good afternoon. So what we're going to do is do a quick demonstration of indirect fire and how it blocks the line of sight or goes over line of sight effectively to drive your opponents nuts. In the orange deployment zone is mostly Comstar forces. I haven't removed all the extra minis yet. But starting here, all the white mechs are Comstar. Trying to get to enemy deployment zone, which is this group of buildings, but actually they want to get to the red building and the double dome behind the wall. So let me get down lower level really quick. Notice that there are some clear firing lanes and streets, but there are some barriers which do not help firing lanes. And some of the enemy mechs will have to cross that. Now, indirect fire is a theory that you can unload a lot of shots, but at the same time, hold up your opponent from crossing these lanes. So, again, cross streets, lots of open space. There's some barrier walls put up. I'm going to add some more. But if you notice in here, there's 4 SRM carriers. 2 on the one side, 2 on the other side. And you have manticores. You also have trucks. So what's not out right now are the spotters. We'll do that in a second. The spotters are going to be 4 ferret cargo variants for the green deployment zone, sprinkling out across the treaty later on. But currently in the orange deployment zone, even with the lights flickering, I'm going to use my laser pointer to show you the range. It's a 4x4 board, so easily anything in the green deployment zone, as long as there's a spotter, can hit anything in the orange deployment zone. And I wanted to highlight how intense and terrifying it would be if it was a night fight. So the thing with night visibility, it adds a +2, so your medium range becomes a +4, your long range becomes a +6. However, it's still the intimidating factor of just estimating and getting around the city. The game will not be played with night fight rules. This is just to show you the laser pointer effectively cutting off distance. Alright, so let's get down street level. This is 3rd Street. Main Street and 2nd, going down street level. West Avenue, Central Avenue, and East Avenue. Now, line up, we have a Black Knight Thug, Guillotine, Catapult, Shootist, Crab, Flashman, and Thunderbolt with 4 little Gabriels. The Gabriels are reinforcements if needed, but they're going to be parked. As I was saying earlier, if you look at the hangars, they can hide here and break line of sight. If there's a barrier in front, that would be even scarier. However, as you're looking at the streets, jump-capable mechs can reach the overpass quite easily. Mechs that are small enough could slide up underneath. But again, one of my new projects is that I'm going to be adding risers so you can raise up buildings. As on the other side, I haven't finished designing the base yet, but you see how Thunderhead Studio's nice building sits on top easily. So now we're going to get into the next piece of this. The SRM carriers are beautifully hidden underneath. The Manticores are on the outside. The LRM carriers are spread out. There's a couple of trucks. So right now the area is clear. Alright, and we're back. So what I'm going to do is use the laser pointer to show you the 2 car knobs on your screen. Car knobs normally have a range of 22 inches, which can put them anywhere, but I'm going to use them as ferrets because there's no published ferret model. Again, the cargo ferret, 30 inches. So what I'm going to do is pull out the tape measure and show you 30 inches across the board inside the deployment zone. Once I get the tape measure to cooperate with me. So, hold that thought. So 30 inches from where they are will put them damn near in the enemy deployment zone on turn 1. But because we want survivability, what's going to happen is we're going to travel 22 inches and then go up 8. 8 effectively putting us up here. Having great visibility of the shootist and the catapult and giving us a +5. So that is a TMM plus the small size for being a VTOL. Now I'm going to grab the second one and come up the other street. The reason why I'm not flying ground level is that I don't want to make myself an easier target for the enemy. But I can still have my spotters ready to go. So, second ferret gets a +5. Looks like I'm gonna have to go buy me some brass rod and make more vertical stands. So, now, if we're looking at the 30 inches from the back of the LRM carriers, we already know we have 42 to every target back there in the enemy deployment zone. So again, with no clear lines of sight for Comstar to respond to who's shooting at them, it really does delay the purpose of Comstar getting to this battle quickly, unless they use the Gabriels or they sprint for a couple of turns. So this is a demonstration of my discussion point. It gives an unparalleled amount of versatility to the player with the VTOLs. Now, we're going to get into some rules discussion later. Alright, as we're getting into the IF Scary Time discussion, if you look at the way the table's set up, you have deployment zone, overpass, road, deployment zone. Giving you the open-ended idea of, is artillery even more effective than indirect fire? I would say no when you need 7s, 9s, and 11s to go ahead and reach out and touch your target. It just doesn't make sense. As you saw in the video, I put the car knobs on top of the overpass looking to enemy deployment zone to be super effective. The reason why I wanted to take the cardinals off was to show you this. Your spotters, +1. Range is either +2 or +4, and the shooters are sitting still -4. So that means it's always going to be skill plus range when looking at these targets, unless there's smoke, cover, or something else holding you up. But effectively, I have 8 shooters before the enemy even gets a chance to respond. And this is just in an urban environment. However, what you're looking for is that your spotters are going to have +5s, which is going to make it difficult for your enemy to choose which is the primary target here. Do I shoot the spotters since the only thing I can see? How do I keep the spotters safe? And that's what we're going to get into the next discussion. Switching gears, artillery for me in this situation is too inconsistent, and if I'm not trying to damage the real estate, I don't want a lot of scatter. Granted, if artillery was being used and building damage wasn't a factor, it would force the defenders, which are the mercenaries, to spread out. So what ends up happening becomes a discussion on what's more consistent results. If you're not using consistent or repetitive shots time on target, which reduces the modifier, indirect fire is more effective, especially with the spotter that you have. Now to protect your spotters, altitude becomes a thing. Spotting distance is up to 40 inches or 42 inches. So if your spotters are 24 inches above a target, that effectively becomes medium range and not long. It's thinking about it. Because you have to go straight to the target, meaning that you're not measuring to their flight path, you're measuring directly to the unit. So if they are 24 inches above the target and you're not using C3, that means that +5 becomes a +7. Or if you're flying at 42 inches and just spotting, that means you're a +9. Your targets are pretty much open for business, but retaliation is going to be highly difficult. Now, a lot of people have been asking, how do you deal with retaliation versus spotters? Flak, air-to-air, Arrow 4 flak, area flak, LBX cannon flak if you're playing 3049 and further up. There's multiple ways to deal with spotters. The helicopter flight path technique is, hi, I have an aerospace fighter coming in over the city to clean up. The flight path will match the altitude and the distance of closing in for at least 6 inches on a target, meaning that it'll pass within 6 inches of the helicopter, it'll put it at short range. So what happens is that it literally becomes just the TMM of the VTOL. Now, if you're using skill 4 aerospace fighters, it can be a 9. If you're using a veteran 8, it could be a 7. But a lot of VTOLs, again, don't have the bite or the distance to stay in the game. So that gives you an opportunity to pop it. Air-to-air VTOLs and house ruling artillery flak or autocannon flak could alleviate the problem. But again, situations are different. Now, the caveat downside of a VTOL being so high is that if it can't draw a line of sight to the target it's spotting, i.e. mechs go underneath the bridge, vehicles go underneath the underpass, or something else like the vehicle bunkers that I've designed, the spotter has to get on the ground level, which puts the VTOL in a dangerous position. But thanks for checking it out. Always open for discussion. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll move on to the next topic that pops up. Talk to y'all soon.